Hey! Hi! How you doing? This is the Gamertron and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. In a previous video I made talking about not buying and or pre-ordering Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, the new Call of Duty coming out this year, and instead buying different and much better first-person shooter video games with multiplayer components, such as Overwatch, Doom, Rainbow Six Siege, and even Titanfall 2 coming out this year. I also stated in that video that there was a specific reason I left out Battlefield 1 and why I haven't made a video until now expressing my feelings on Battlefield 1. Alright, here we go. Guys, I think we're overhyping Battlefield 1 just a smidgen. Yes, the Battlefield 1 trailer was a much more exciting trailer than the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare trailer. And yes, Battlefield 1 is indeed giving the people what they want. It's going back to the past. It's going back to the World Wars, specifically World War I. And not too many video games have actually taken place in World War I. And this is a AAA shooter, AAA multiplayer shooter taking place in World War I. It's a huge risk and somewhat of an innovation when compared to all the sci-fi shooters we've been getting. But I think people are overhyping and overpraising the game already when we know just about nothing about it. Yes, we know that the game's visuals are gonna look beautiful. It's running on the Frostbite engine, how could they not? Yes, we know it's taking place in World War I. Yes, we know there will be vehicle combat. Yes, we know there will be a single-player campaign, and of course, its multiplayer component. And that's where all the information we know about the game ends. And only a very select few individual people, specifically big YouTubers, have actually seen any actual gameplay from Battlefield 1. The majority of us, for the most part, technically don't know how the game even plays. And forgive me, but I'm a bit skeptical about the whole World War I setting. And while it certainly is an interesting and unique and very risky in terms of this being a AAA multiplayer shooter setting to take, but how much fun will the game actually be to play in that setting? While I have no doubt DICE will provide in terms of the visuals and the audio, how much depth does the gameplay actually have to it? And how much content and how much support after launch will the game receive? If you guys don't know where I'm going with this, Star Wars Battlefront. Now, Star Wars Battlefront, I will say without a shadow of a doubt, is a good video game, but how it was released and supported left a great deal to be desired. And while EA absolutely has a part to play in that, so did DICE. Electronic Arts does get a lot of say when it comes to what, when, and where when it comes to its video games. But DICE is still the developer. They still have, for the most part, creative control, and are the arbiters of content and support fixes and whatnot. And while Star Wars Battlefront looked gorgeous, sounded amazing, and was fun to play, it lacked depth, it lacked content, and it lacked post-launch support. It took months to see any sort of significant update to Star Wars Battlefront in terms of patches, fixes, balancing, and new free content. You can't do that with a multiplayer game. You just can't. You have to be consistent. Multiplayer games in this day and age live and die by their post-release support. And while there are still hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that play Star Wars Battlefront, the playlist populations have significantly dropped since the game's release. And is everyone just forgetting that Star Wars Battlefront came out last year, and DICE is releasing 2 more games this year? Mirror's Edge Catalyst and Battlefield 1. I know EA gives DICE a lot of money. DICE is a pretty big development studio, but they're still just one development studio. Where did DICE find all this time to make Star Wars Battlefront, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and Battlefield 1? Something's not right here, everybody. I'm sorry, even though DICE is a pretty big developer, they have only so much money and so much time to spend on making one video game, and DICE has been making free for the past few years. The whole reason EA had Visceral Games, the developers of Dead Space, work on and make Battlefield Hardline was to give DICE time to make Star Wars Battlefront. Turns out it wasn't just Star Wars Battlefront. Hardline was also made to give DICE time to make Mirror's Edge and the new Battlefield. And I don't know if all you noticed, but Star Wars Battlefront kind of suffered from DICE working on all these different games, with only a reasonable, above-average amount of content for launch, and then taking months to get any sort of minimal content update after launch. And then, again, DICE is making the new Mirror's Edge and it's making this new Battlefield, both of which are coming out this year. It's obvious DICE has their hands tied. They're working on free, giant AAA games within the same release and development window of a few years. And everyone seems to be overlooking that and just super excited and overhyping Battlefield 1. Guys, there's a strong possibility Battlefield 1 may have some shortcomings. While I highly doubt it will make the same mistakes as Battlefield 4, EA and DICE can't afford that. Social media would tear them apart, and they'd lose millions of dollars. But Battlefield 1 could be lacking in content. Its single player may not be as well developed as its multiplayer. Or vice versa, you never know. And let's not overlook one other thing. Titanfall 2 is also coming out this year, sometime near the end of the year, in either October, November, and December. That's dangerously close to Battlefield 1, which is coming out October 1st. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I hope either game, Battlefield 1 or Titanfall 2, gets delayed and pushed back to a later date. Just one of the two games, because they're coming out dangerously close to one another, and around the same time the new Call of Duty is coming out. I don't entirely get what EA's plan is here. It's kind of a cannibalistic business move. The thing with EA is every year they'd release one big multiplayer shooter. That's been their thing. But this year it looks like they're possibly releasing two around the same time. Where is DICE going to find time to support Star Wars Battlefront and Battlefield 1? One of the games or both the games are going to suffer, and even Titanfall 2 may suffer, because then it's competing with Call of Duty and Battlefield. I'm so sorry to be a Debbie Downer, a negative Nancy, a pessimistic Pete, a cynical Sid, but I can't help but notice these things and no one else is talking about them. So I feel the need to bring this all up. I'm not saying Battlefield 1 will be a bad game by any means, but I think we're overhyping it and we're overlooking a lot of variables. DICE is working on a lot of games all at once within the same time span. People are ignoring or forgetting Battlefield 4 and Star Wars Battlefront. And then there's the possibility Titanfall 2 is also coming out around the same time as Battlefield 1, which is a very cannibalistic business move by EA. I can only assume that EA is doing this as some sort of anti-Call of Duty marketing campaign, trying to take advantage of the negative press Call of Duty is getting, and I guess trying to kill the beast while it's wounded. EA is being like, oh, you're pissed off at Call of Duty? Well, come to Electronic Arts. We have Battlefield 1 and Titanfall 2. Why would you get Call of Duty when you can get these two awesome first-person shooter multiplayer experiences? Don't forget to buy the season passes. I'm sorry to repeat myself, but I must reiterate, I am not saying don't be excited for these upcoming EA games. Don't not be excited for the upcoming Mirror's Edge, Battlefield, and Titanfall. But when it specifically comes to Battlefield, let's not overhype it, guys. We know so little about the game besides its setting and the quality of its presentation. Let's wait for some more information and dial down the hype numbers. And honestly, for me personally, while I don't have any sort of grudge against Battlefield like I do Call of Duty, I mean, it's still another Battlefield game, and there are still a lot of multiplayer first-person shooters that have come out recently that I would recommend. Over it, I would recommend that you guys go check out Overwatch, Doom, Rainbow Six Siege, and Titanfall 2. Amongst other video games, let's not just go for the same two or few names. When it comes to multiplayer FPSs, there are a lot of new contenders that are worth your time, worth your money, and I would recommend at least checking out. But anyways, that's been a video. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did indeed like the video in any way, shape, or form, please hit the like button. Hitting the like button helps you, helps me, helps everybody involved with the video. If you hit the like button, please leave a comment. What are your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the contents of this video? Let me know in the comment section below. I love reading comments. I don't get nearly enough comments. Please leave a comment. If you want to help out and support this video, then please share it on social media, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you want to help out and support me directly, then please consider pledging and becoming a patron on my Patreon. Anyways, guys, that's been a video, and I will see you all later.